is not the end. The 56-year-old American poet, a Nobel laureate, a poet known in American literary circles as the poet's poet, or sometimes simply the poet, lay outside on the deck, bare-chested, moderately overweight, in a partially reclined deck chair, in the sun, reading, half supine, moderately but not severely overweight, winner of 2 National Book Awards, an American Book Critics Circle Award, a Lamont Prize, 2 grants from the National Endowments for the Arts, a Prix de Rome, a Lannan Foundation Fellowship, a McDowell Medal, and a Mildred and Harold Strauss Living Award from the American Academy and Institute of Arts and Letters, a President Emeritus of Penn, a poet 2 separate American generations have hailed as the voice of their generation, now 56, lying in an unwet, extra-large Speedo brand swimsuit in an incrementally reclinable canvas deck chair on the tile deck beside the home's pool. A poet who was among the first 10 Americans to receive a Genius Grant from the prestigious John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, one of only 3 American recipients of the Nobel Prize for Literature now living, 5'8", 181 pounds, brown, hairline unevenly recessed because of the inconsistent acceptance/rejection of various hair augmentation systems brand transplants. He sat, or lay, or perhaps most accurately just reclined, in a black Speedo swimsuit by the home's kidney-shaped pool, on the pool's tiled deck, in a portable deck chair whose back was now reclined 4 clicks to an angle of 35 degrees with respect to the deck's mosaic tile. At 10:20 a.m. on 15 May 1995, the 4th most anthologized poet in the history of American belles letters, near an umbrella but not in the actual shade of the umbrella, reading Newsweek magazine. Footnote, never the recipient of a John Simon Guggenheim Foundation Fellowship, however. Thrice rejected early in his career, he had reason to believe that something personal and or political was afoot with the Guggenheim Fellowship Committee, and had decided that he'd simply be damned, starve utterly, before he would ever again hire a graduate assistant to fill out the tiresome triplicate Guggenheim Foundation Fellowship application and go through the tiresome, contemptible farce of, quote, objective consideration ever again. Return to text. Using the modest swell of his abdomen as an angled support for the magazine. Also wearing thongs, one hand behind his head, the other hand out to the side and trailing on the dun and ochre filigree of the deck's expensive Spanish ceramic tile, occasionally wetting a finger to turn the page, wearing prescription sunglasses whose lenses were chemically treated to darken in fractional proportion to the luminous intensity of the light to which they were exposed, wearing on the trailing hand a wristwatch of middling quality and expense, simulated rubber thongs on his feet, legs crossed at the ankle and knees slightly spread, the sky cloudless and brightening as the morning sun moved up and right, wetting a finger not with saliva or perspiration, but with the condensation on the slender frosted glass of iced tea that rested now just on the border of his body's shadow to the chair's upper left and would have to be moved to remain in that cool shadow. Tracing a finger idly down the glass's side before bringing the moist finger idly up to the page, occasionally turning the pages of the 19 September 1994 edition of Newsweek magazine, reading about American healthcare reform and about U.S. Air's tragic Flight 427, reading a summary and favorable review of the popular nonfiction volumes Hot Zone and The Coming Plague, sometimes turning several pages in succession, skimming certain articles and summaries. An eminent American poet now 4 months short of his 57th birthday. A poet whom Newsweek magazine's chief competitor, Time, had once rather absurdly called the closest thing to a genuine literary immortal now living. His shins nearly hairless, the open umbrella's elliptic shadow tightening slightly, the thong's simulated rubber pebbled on both sides of the sole, the poet's forehead dotted with perspiration. His tan deep and rich, the insides of his upper legs nearly hairless, his penis curled tightly on itself inside the tight swimsuit, his Van Dyke neatly trimmed, an ashtray on the iron table, not drinking his iced tea, occasionally clearing his throat, at intervals shifting slightly in the pastel deck chair to scratch idly at the instep of one foot with the big toe of the other foot without removing his thongs or looking at either foot. Seemingly intent on the magazine, the blue pool to his right and the home's thick glass sliding rear door to his oblique left. Between himself and the pool, a round table of white woven iron impaled at the center by a large beach umbrella whose shadow now no longer touches the pool. An indisputably accomplished poet, reading his magazine in his chair on his deck by his pool behind his home. The home's pool and deck area are surrounded on three sides by trees and shrubbery. The trees and shrubbery, installed years before, are densely interwoven and tangled and serve the same essential function as a redwood privacy fence or a wall of fine stone. It is the height of spring, and the trees and shrubbery are in full leaf and are intensely green and still, and are complexly shadowed, and the sky is wholly blue and still, so that the whole enclosed tableau of pool and deck and poet and chair and table and trees and home's rear facade is very still and composed and very nearly wholly silent, the soft gurgle of the pool's pump and drain and the occasional sound of the poet clearing his throat or turning the pages of Newsweek magazine the only sounds. Not a bird, no distant lawnmowers or hedge trimmers or weed-eating devices, no jets overhead or distant muffled sounds from the pools of the homes on either side of the poet's home. Nothing but the pool's respiration and poet's occasional cleared throat, wholly still and composed and enclosed, not even a hint of a breeze to stir the leaves of the trees and shrubbery. The silent, living, nastic, enclosing floor is motionless green, vivid and inescapable, and not like anything else in the world in either appearance or suggestion. Footnote: that is not wholly true.